Welcome to the Mashup.
Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, pop and lock and salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map, stop the chatter, scream happily.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Welcome to the mashup. Welcome to the welcome to the mashup.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Twos is a trendsetter. He's a pace setter. He's way ahead of the curve. And it's irritating the hell out of him. The latest viral trend is this thing called plaque maxing, where whenever you see a placard on the side of the road, you go check it out. If you're out for a walk somewhere and there's a placard, you go read it. You spend a whole bunch of time in museums reading all of the intricate details of everything. Twos has been an incredibly annoying person to go to a museum with his entire life because he was doing this before it was cool. And then you've got a cottage cheese shortage in Canada. Why? Because of some latest TikTok trend about how good it is to eat cottage cheese. Welcome to the party, pal. What's going to be the next viral TikTok trend? Having half-finished projects filling the fucking workbench in your garage? Loving to fish but never having enough time to do it? Or just yelling into the abyss every time something pisses you off at the start of a podcast? Because that's basically my life.
Mashup 184, folks. If I thought I was going to enter in with Twos doing a little dance, talking about being trend setting, I did not have that on my bingo card today, but welcome to Mashup 184, where we've just started and Twos has made me smile. So, hey, you're winning today, Twos. You're winning today.
It's going to get worse. You're going to be pretty mad at me by the time. Yeah.
Sure. All right. Mashup 184. Welcome aboard, everyone. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to like, share, send it out to a friend. Help us
all
get
that
the word
usual
out.
Stuff. We appreciate it.
Morning, Earl. How's everybody doing today? I'm feeling pretty good today, Twos. How are you doing?
Twos is doing good. Twos went to bed nice and early last night, got a whole ton of sleep. It was great. And yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of Vape Vault, so that was kind of a cool milestone. We've been open a year now.
You've survived a year.
Yeah.
Well, I had a different day yesterday. I was just telling you, 13 interviews. Now, in fairness, the 13 folks, 11 of those were like, I got, what's the word I'm looking for? UCP
erectile dysfunction.
The board of director candidates, I've been interviewing them all for the UCP AGM, and there's 22 of them. I know you get a kick out of that. I did 11 of them yesterday, then had 2 of my own. So actually I was on Leighton Gray's podcast. I don't know when that comes out. Gray Matter. Leighton had asked me to come on. So that was interesting. And then I had an interview late last night. So yesterday was a new benchmark for sitting down on different interviews. 13. I didn't think that was possible.
That's basically the live election live stream all over again.
Yeah, except that's one continuous thing, and that's like 40 or 50 people hopping on. But you're not wrong. This was all behind closed doors. Morning, Leanne. Morning. Well, okay. Oh, sorry.
Just let me say real quick that Gray Matter thing is legitimately interesting because I've told you this before. But, aside from being an interviewer, you also make a pretty interesting podcast guest, and you don't do nearly enough of that. So whenever that comes out, people should check it out.
People should check it out. People should check out Gray Matter anyways. Leighton has some interesting guests on there. I guess if you want to have this knucklehead on a show of your choosing, folks, who's ever watching, and you have a podcast, sure, I'd hop on. It's always interesting to be on the other side, as Twos well knows, because it started out with me having Twos on, and then now it's Twos co-hosts a whole lot. Okay, let's get on this thing. Happy Airborne Friday, right? Shout out to Jamie Sinclair. I feel like there's literally a reminder in Jamie's phone every Friday morning. He texts me and then he sends me a video, And I'm like, I don't.
Same
Do
thing.
you
And
do you know what I'm doing this morning, Jamie?
I don't have time Friday morning. I've got a bunch of
I
unread
got
texts
time
from
other
Jamie.
times, not Friday morning. I tell you what, I feel like he does it just to get me riled up so I talk about it. Anyways, happy Airborne Friday, all the military men. And are we gonna have to, like, if they enlist 300,000 public servants, we're gonna have to caveat this, like I don't know what I'm gonna
We're
feel
gonna
about
get
that.
to that. We're gonna get to that. Spoilers.
Spoilers is right. Coot
Okay.
6.5.
Yep.
Community notes call. Yes. If you got a community note, we talk about it at the end. Throw it in the chat so we can make sure it gets on the show towards the end. Community notes. Coot 6.5. Indigenous man caught with killing machine of a rifle gets time served due to intergenerational trauma.
Yes. So he was driving erratically, got pulled over. He had a flamethrower, crowbars, had a crack pipe sitting on his lap, and he had what was described as being a loaded, prohibited, modified firearm. And they said that it wasn't made to kill animals. The only thing it would, this gun is obviously not intended for hunting anything other than human beings.
And the judge said the mitigation of Garlow's sentence is not a break for him. A sentence reduction is not a reflection of a judge being soft on crime. It is our obligation as the gatekeepers of justice to address, redress, and hopefully ameliorate institutional abuse.
Ameliorate.
Geez, that's a new word.
Ameliorate.
Ameliorate. Okay. Institutionalized abuse.
Okay, I just want to point out, I got a lot of love for the National Post, but because of that, I got to call you guys out when you fuck up. Case in point. Garlow, in his early 40s, pled guilty to being in possession of a loaded, prohibited, modified firearm, and that his possession of this firearm was in contravention of court orders that prohibited him from possessing such items. Motherfucker, it's a prohibited firearm. You already can't possess it. Like you can't, there's no court order that's going to make it extra illegal for you to have a firearm that it's illegal for you to have in the first place. I get the fact that journalists don't tend to know a lot about firearms, but I really feel like you guys should address that.
I'm just going to solve my own problem. Ameliorate. Make something bad or unsatisfactory better. I didn't know that, too. I'm learning a new word today. There you go.
Oh, dude,
Okay.
I know all kinds of words.
Yeah, you got a lot of useless information tucked up there. Expenses. All right.
Well, that's from reading all the placards. That's where all that comes from.
Here's Liberal MP Ariel Keabaga, I think, yesterday would not explain why she billed more than $173,000 for 9 days worth of personal costs in her brief tenure as government House Leader. Keabaga spent the entire period in her riding with Parliament out of session. It was a short-lived position. And then
she went on to $174,000 in expenses.
This is what she said. I would like to,
by the way.
Yes. And then this is her letter penned. I would like to offer some context regarding the public expenses associated with my term as government House Leader earlier this year. I was appointed House Leader on March 14th. The amounts referenced in recent reports reflects personal expenses incurred up to March 31st. During that period, I inherited an existing fully staffed office and no new staff were hired. As indicated in the public accounts, $57,000 represents the actual personal costs of that office. The remaining amounts relates to mandatory vacation leave payouts, which are governed by Treasury Board policies.
Yes. So she's basically saying that it just so happened that everybody was getting paid over those 9 days that I was there. And that's why it all racked up like that. Now, it's technically possible, but pretty unlikely. So if you want anybody to believe you, you show the fucking receipts. And if you don't show the receipts, you need to leave. And if you're the Conservative Party, you need to embrace what you did with Bev Oda. This is your time to shine. If anybody from the Conservative Party is listening and you guys don't want to be idiots, You need to, everybody's talking, because whenever something like this happens, it's always the $16 orange juice is the gold standard comparison, right? You say, we're the party who kicked somebody out over $16 orange juice. We have integrity. We care about mismanagement of taxpayer funds. $174,000 over 9 days is a bit fucking egregious. We're the people who stand up and do the right thing, and we're telling you that you need to as well.
You want to show the video of Donald Trump, BBC?
Yeah. Okay. So what happened is that at least 2 people from BBC have resigned over this clip. And so they're upset because of the Trumpification of news in England. And yet at the same time, this is the video that they showed. Here's the video, and then so their video and then the unedited version back to back.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you, and we fight. We fight like hell. We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
That's a little bit misleading. You take 2 pieces of the, apparently the 2 sides of the clip were about 46 minutes apart, but they spliced them together to make it sound like he was actually calling for the January 6th thing to happen. And a bunch of people at the BBC are upset that Trump went after them over this. And at no point are they saying, well, if it isn't the consequences of my own action.
Yes. Okay. 2 different things here. Cowichan tribe calls illegal dumping a generational systemic problem and urges federal action. Cowichan tribes is calling on the federal government to take responsibility for an unauthorized dumping site on its reserve lands, saying the contamination of indigenous lands is a national issue that Ottawa has long failed to address. Quoted, pollution and contamination of reserve land is generational, systemic, and national problem.
Yeah, I mean, you listen to this article about this unauthorized dump site that they have on reservation land and how they've been trying to get rid of it for years, and the federal government isn't stepping up, despite the fact that this is ongoing, systemic, and generational. It even talks about how a court order issued October 2nd requires James Anthony Peter to halt dumping on the 3 lots. What this article fails to fucking mention is that James Anthony Peter is a resident of that reservation. This entire article just accidentally omits the fact that it is somebody who lives on that reservation who has been doing this illegal dumping for years. And now,
I feel like this is where the pen flip comes in from Dave Hodge. What are we doing here? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing, journalists? Mm-hmm. Carry on, Tews.
And now it's the federal government's problem, and it's been systemic and ongoing and evil and mean. Motherfucker, yes. This is you doing it. And so this is the Cowichan tribe who just applied to take over that $500 million golf course. They're saying, well, that's our land, but this which was already our land is your guys' problem. Like, here, check this out.
Take to clean up this unauthorized dump site on Cowichan tribe's land is less clear. Specifically, who will enforce it and how.
It's everyone's jurisdiction that has to take care of this, not just Cowichan tribes.
Today, for the first time since the province...
It's everyone's jurisdiction. The $500 million golf course, that's ours. But the dump site, which is leaking heavy minerals and hydrocarbons into the nearby river, well, that's everybody.
That's
we're all just one big community. That's our fucking golf course. But we're one big community. When it's time to clean up the illegal dump site that residents of that reservation have been operating for years.
Then you have Sutina rejects G7 gesture, blaming Ottawa's failure to address drinking water issues on reserves. The Sutina official said on Wednesday the nation refused to accept the signature scroll signed by G7 nations that had gathered in Kananaskis last June, saying their First Nations concerns over safe drinking water have been ignored.
The Sutina Nation, for those of you who don't know, is literally just on the south side of Glenmore Trail in Calgary. Like it literally has there's no gap where that, like, there's one line between the Sutina Nation and the city of Calgary. One, why can't they just connect a couple pipes? Like that's all you have to do is just connect a couple pipes and boom, bada bing, bada boom, you're connected. But then also it begs the question of, you've got this place that has a thriving event center, the Grey Eagle Event Center, which is an absolute shit show if you ever go to a concert there. I know this because I went and saw the Cult last year and waited in line through the entire opening act. And then the audio system was so garbled that you couldn't even tell what was being played. Like
You'll be happy to know
the lead singer of the Cult.
You'll be happy to know the Cornerstone Forum isn't going there this year. We did tour it.
I was happy to hear that. I was, because you were thinking about it, and I'm like, dude, no. But yeah, you've got this casino and an event center that does a ton of concerts and stuff there, ton of events, and you mean to tell me that there's no money in the kiddie fund? At what point are you going to say, you know what? If the government isn't going to solve this for us, maybe we need to solve it ourselves.
Even injection site workers now admit drug dealing was rampant. Man, I shouldn't laugh at this, but it's what
Did you read this article?
Yes, I did. The province of Ontario did something last month that has never done before. It defunded a supervised injection site because the chaos and disorder it was causing had reached unacceptable levels for the surrounding neighbors. The injection site is in Parkdale, a neighborhood on the west side of Toronto. I don't know what part do you, like, I pretty much quoted the entire article. I was like, this is
all of it. All of it. It's
okay.
It's okay. Well, how about this? It's a disaster. They had a bunch of drug dealers hanging around outside of it constantly. One of them was actually assisted in there was a gunfight out in front of it, and a passerby was killed in the crossfire.
Yeah,
when that person was trying to escape, one of the workers at the safe injection site helped the drug dealer escape when the cops were coming. This is a drug dealer who was so well known to the safe injection site that when he needed to go to the bathroom during the day, he would go in there, and whenever he was thirsty, he would go in there for a drink. This is the drug dealer outside of the safe consumption site who had such a good relationship that he could borrow their shitter whenever he needed it while he was peddling drugs. And when he accidentally murdered somebody in the crossfire with a rival drug dealer, one of the people working there helped him escape the police. Does anybody see any red flags here?
I think it's better when you just that's basically the gist of the story, folks. And just to add in, it was revealed that when staff gathered for a debrief after the shooting, management's primary concern was not guns and gangs, but how this fatal shooting was going to impact their injection site. And a mother was killed out front of it in a gang shootout. The drug dealer was known because he got to use it. Everything Two's just said. I think you should write that article again in the Two's version, because I think that would be, well, I don't know. That's like pure comedy gold right there, except it's real life.
It's not. It's just literally explaining what happened.
Correct.
Like, I get the fact that when you're writing a news article, everything's got to be polite and laying it out. But if you just want to throw brass tacks at that, that's literally the situation.
I agree, Too. Nova Scotia MP Chris D'Entremont
there's a few other things.
Well, there might be. You know, is there going to be a week here where Twos doesn't sneak in like 4 extra articles when I'm not looking? Is there going to be a week? Twos, is there going to be a week?
I am a very busy man. I'm a very busy man.
Very
Sean.
busy man who can't
Okay.
put it the control as you're at it, so I could just go. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So
Okay.
Lauren Southern, former aspiring politician, turned very, very prominent conservative commentator.
Yes.
Apparently, CSIS was trying to
recruit her.
Well, basically low-key threatening her, as a single mother, I'm not sure if you want to do this, and your audience will never know, we just help each other out a little bit, and I can get the RCMP off your back, and if anything ever goes to trial, by then, it doesn't really matter if you're guilty or not, you need our protection. And so they wanted to basically set her up as a mole within the conservative
influencer movement.
Online commentary sphere.
Correct.
There you go. That's a great way to put it. So, yeah. Have they come talking to you yet?
No. No.
What? That was a very long pause, Sean.
Yeah, they really want me to inform on Twos. Who's Twos? Who is this guy? Yeah.
He's, if you guys actually, you know what? CSIS, because obviously you're listening, because if you're spending terabytes of data on streaming services, I guarantee you have enough time to be like, screw it, let's see what this idiot has to say. If you really want to know more about things, and if you really want to infiltrate the Twos sphere,
you know what? On another
if CSIS wants to put a team in, we will we'll just give it to you for free. You guys just show up. CSIS, there is a team spot being held for you at the MASH spiel.
On a side note, I did have a cop drive through and stop into the studio to say hi. That is a true story, and it did happen this week.
Like somebody that you knew that just happened to be a cop, or
no, a listener texted me out of the blue, said, "Hey, don't know if this is actually you." So I pulled in. Super nice guy, listens to the podcast, found me through Drew Weatherhead. Shout out to, I won't name him because I don't know if he wants to remain anonymous, but he comes from the days of standing up during COVID. So he stopped in and said hello. So I did have a cop, but it went way different than what happened to Laura Southern. Yeah, it was just a friendly conversation.
Yeah, so they were,
what you're doing is awesome.
They were showing up. Yeah, which is okay. All right. Well, that's cool. That's good. I do like that. With Lauren Southern, they were like showing up at her gym. They were showing up at her house. They were calling her from multiple block numbers.
Harassing.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. Somebody says, did you sweep the studio for bugs?
No, I didn't. Okay, next story. Oh my goodness, we're off the rails today. Is it Nova Scotia, or you got something else?
No, the CFIA, it's not just the ostriches, cattle farmers rail against CFIA.
All right, we'll talk.
So apparently it's not just the ostrich farmers, it's everybody who deals with the CFIA who doesn't have any external ombudsman. They handle all of their complaints internally. And it was really interesting listening to Daisy on your show yesterday, Sean. It wouldn't even occur to me that just a whole bunch of ostriches would just kind of disappear, because it's not like they fucking flew away, right? And it hadn't even crossed my mind to be like, if I was there, should I put trackers on these things? Should I try and hide a few air tags, maybe just, or something like that. But if you're doing something where the government's just being weird and ruthless and bureaucratically heavy-handed, you should seriously be thinking about what is the darkest direction they could possibly take with this, and how could I document it and prove it at a later time? Because, if somebody had said to Katie, you know what, you guys should just, when the vet's there, put the tracker tags like they do for dogs. Just put a few random ostriches or something like that. Right?
Yeah. So what Twos is talking about, folks, is Chris Dacey was on yesterday, and he was talking about the number of ostriches and how when they did counts, they were probably missing well over 100 ostriches that weren't there. And so you go, well, where did they go?
And that's the question. And if you had an Apple AirTag up the ostrich's booty hole, then
can we hire twos to do that?
Just put on a glove first. I mean, an ostrich egg comes out of it. I'm pretty sure.
The guy who did Dirty Jobs, Mike Rowe,
Norm
Mike
Macdonald, Rowe. Mike Rowe. Yeah.
We should have Dirty Jobs with twos, except it should be the most obscure. You're putting it up the booty hole. There you go. There's twos putting an AirTag tracker in an ostrich's booty hole. All right, this is what you're here for on Mashup 184, isn't it? An ostrich's
no. This
hole.
is a serious thing to consider.
I think
here,
it
Sean.
is.
Because imagine if a week from now, all of these ostriches who were supposedly killed, you've got an AirTag of them running around a field somewhere in rural Ontario or something like that. Like, that would be a huge smoking gun. So the next time, if you happen to be listening to this and you've got the government being unreasonable and weird, you think, like, what could they possibly do? And which booty holes do I need to put AirTags into?
Put some AirTags in some booty holes. Okay. What do you have next?
Well, now it's
Please tell me somebody is also laughing out there. Like, I mean, an AirTag up a booty hole? I don't know. Is that just funny to me? Is it just funny to me? Maybe not. I don't know. Nova Scotia MP Chris DeMont.
Well, no, but in all seriousness, imagine how this story would change if they had that.
I 100% agree with you. You just had to use AirTag up a booty hole. You're just like, really? We're talking anyway. It's just the phrasing. Just the phrasing. When is the government not being weird? Eileen Clark. Yeah, you're right. Correct. Nova Scotia MP Chris d'Entremont booed during Remembrance Day ceremony. It was 3 people by the sounds of it. No, could it have been more?
Well, according to what was reported by the Legion,
thank you.
It was 3 people.
3 people. So it's probably 30.
Grain of salt.
Grain of salt. Yes. To those who booed,
but yeah, and they're saying
at the service, we say shame on you. You have ruined the day that we remembered our fathers, sons, daughters, grandparents that paid the ultimate sacrifice for the very thing that you seemed entitled to, the right to give your opinion. Angelo Amaro said.
They're wrong. They're right, but they're not totally right. I'm going to go on a limb and say that if the ink hasn't even dried on your new liberal pass for the new party that you betrayed everybody who voted for you and everybody who door knocked for you and everybody who worked towards getting you elected and all of these people that you're supposed to represent, and then you went over to be the exact opposite of them. Maybe you just have like a cooling off period, where you just say, okay, well, you know what? I'm not going to go to any sort of nonpartisan memorial things where it's going to inevitably be made about me and me being a dick. I'm just going to sit these out for a little bit. Next year I'll go, but for the time being, we're just going to have somebody else do it. That would be the thing to do.
So you point to that, and I point to, if the Legion doesn't want things politicized, maybe they should check their track record and go back to when they didn't allow vets in for certain reasons.
Yep. And well, the local Legion here apparently issued a big apology over them turning the entire ceremony into a big speech about anti-Americanism.
Right. So I have a bone to pick with the Legion, as I'm sure some military vets do. Chris d'Entremont, I mean, should you boo him at a remembrance ceremony? No, that's not what you're there for.
But he shouldn't have been there in the first place after what he did.
But you want to call out people politicizing what's going on? Well, the Legion needs to take the first step there. I mean, come on. Like they come on. Unhappy with Roosted, BC Conservatives in Isqualmalet, Colwood dissolved riding association. Christian McKay, who served in the role for Escalade Colwood until last month, said people were also concerned the party is no longer representing socially conservative beliefs in legislature. He said he joined the BC Conservatives because of the party's stance against discussion of sexual orientation and gender identity in schools, or SOGI. He said he had thought Roosted would be the voice in that direction when the resurgent BC Conservatives captured 44 of the 93 seats in the legislature in last year's provincial election. But since then, it's watered down and more or less dissolved. That voice has disappeared. So the Riding Association Board voted to resign and dissolve late last month over concerns that Roosted was ignoring grassroots voices within the party.
So they are so pissed off with John Roostad and what he's been doing as leader, and the fact that he is just saying, fuck you, I'm not going to quit, that they just said, you know what? We're not even going to have a riding association anymore. Like, it's not like they're just openly calling it for his resignation. They're just saying, we're taking ourselves completely off the board. I think that's fairly unprecedented.
Yes. Well, you think of how resurgent they were. Remember the election?
Yeah, they came up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, well, this is awesome. Well, because you looked at it at the time and you're just thinking that everybody in BC is so fed up with the woke NDP idiot bullshit that, okay, well, somebody comes in and they say they're going to be conservative and they're going to do all these things. Great. And then he gets in, and then as soon as it goes, as soon as everything quiets down after the election, he's like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And he's kicking people out of the party when they try and do things like that. You're like, this isn't what we wanted. This isn't what we voted for. You're basically just being NDP light. You're being like the diet soda. You're being Diet Orange Crush, basically. And that isn't what we wanted.
Dumb question. Is there Diet Orange soda? I suppose there is.
Probably.
Have you ever drank that? Would you ever drink that? Why would you ever drink that?
Well, presumably because you like the fizzy orange taste, but don't want to have all of the extra calories, and maybe also hate your kidneys.
More than 40% of Canadian births had foreign-born mothers in 2024. That is a wild stat.
The Twos conspiracy. The immigration numbers that we've been receiving are not the immigration numbers that are actually happening.
I'm going to say it one more time. More than 40% of Canadian births had foreign-born mothers in 2024. Let that sink in for a minute or two. Union threatens to seize Cami auto plant if GM removes machinery. Workers at Cami Assembly in Ingersoll are threatening to seize the plant and push GM Canada into a legal battle if the automaker attempts to remove machinery from the site. So, yeah, more than 1,100 laid-off workers, members of Union Local 88, will take over the plant and refuse to leave, impeding an effort by the automaker to remove equipment, said Mike Van Bakel, union chairperson. We will occupy the plant until there's a way forward, he says. We want to team up with the federal government and GM to get something for the plant. GM last month announced it is pausing production of electric cargo van assembly at the site, forcing the layoff of more than 1,100 workers. The company said it was ending production of the Bright Drop electric delivery van due to poor sales.
Oh, how about that? Poor sales. And I love how he said, this is the only leverage we have. No, actually, you guys could not make unrealistic demands. You could just, instead of just being like, we want to get paid $1 bazillion to build vehicles that nobody buys, and we are going to demand that you continue to pay us to make vehicles that nobody buys. Like, how about you guys just put in for transfers somewhere else? Chevy's a big company. Go work at the Mexico plant. Oh, wait. You don't really like the working conditions there because you think they're unrealistic? Motherfucker, yours are unrealistic. And the idea that you think that you could just, like, imagine you just went into a business you used to work at. Oil field company you were sales guy for. and you just decided to show up and say, I'm not leaving until you pay me to do some stuff, they would just call the cops. Like, that's the thing, is that these people at this factory are just going to call the cops and say, a bunch of people who used to work here have broken in and they're overrunning things, and we need them. They're trespassing. We need them removed.
More flights for PM Mark Carney as he'll head to the UAE, South Africa. I don't know. I can read a bunch of this. He's going to be all over the place.
Well,
It says,
how about
according
the fact that he flew 153,000 kilometers in the first 8 months as PM, which is enough to go around the world at the longest point
nearly 4 times.
4 times. Yeah. See, like, I want to sail around the world at some point, but I imagine that when I do it, it's going to be around like the south tip of South America, because I'll be able to get it done much quicker than going around the equator.
Sailing,
it's math. It's math, right? But this is him going around the long. Like, Trudeau sucked, but his saving grace was that the guy was never actually fucking working. It was always idiot vacations. We get somebody who's actually putting in the hours in this job, but is still just as fucked up as Justin Trudeau. This is what happens.
You want to show the video of Pierre Poilievre?
Yes. So I'm going to show the whole thing, but it's really kind of, well, I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit because it's less than a minute long, but it's the end part that's important.
Falsehoods that they put into that story. So I encourage you to tell Canadians about the falsehoods you published and explain why you did that.
Okay, just on that last point, there was an article published on Sunday on cbc.ca that was later updated with what the editors decided to call a correction. The initial version of the story accurately reported what Chris D'Entremont said in an interview on a CBC program. Chris D'Entremont later called back, clarified those comments, and the story was updated to reflect that. The correction is by Chris D'Entremont. The mistake, or the bad impression, whatever you want to say about it, was from Chris D'Entremont. It was not an editorial mistake by the CBC writer.
Yes, it fucking was. You took the word of one person without bothering to verify the veracity of his statements, and you published them as being true. You did not do any of your due diligence as a news organization. You did not check into it. You did not find corroborating evidence. You didn't get multiple sources on it. You took one person who has a very, very vested interest in having a slanted take on it, and you took what he said verbatim and didn't question the veracity of it, and then you had to walk it back later. This is absolutely on you. You're fucking schmucks.
Tell me how you really feel, Tews.
Like, if Chris Sims was here, she would probably say the same thing with a little bit less flowery language.
Mm-hmm.
But she would actually be able to lay out exactly how and why this is a failure of journalism, and it shouldn't have got to the point where they needed to issue the correction in the first place.
Ottawa seeks new parliamentary budget officer with tact, and discretion.
Yes, so they have a new job posting up for a parliamentary budget officer, and specifically in the job requirements, they're looking for tact and discretion, because the interim guy they had, I don't know if you remember the clip we showed of this guy where he said that it was, what were the exact words he used?
Stupefying, shocking, and unsustainable.
Yes.
On Ottawa's spending.
This is exactly, you could not find a better person to have in this job. The guy who's going to tell the truth on the situation, regardless of how it might affect his career. You could not ask for a better person in that position. I can't believe I am advocating for a bureaucrat to keep his job, but on an infinite timeline, everything happens. And right now, I'm saying this is a bureaucrat that we should absolutely pay money to.
The listing says the successful candidate must show sound judgment, tact, and discretion, and communicate about complex policy issues in a neutral way.
He did it in a neutral way. He didn't spin it the way the Liberals wanted to. That's exactly what the fuck he did, and they fired him because of it. Although technically he was just on a term. It was like a 6-month term.
The world is increasingly dangerous and divided.
Yes. And so Ryan Garrettson put together this super clip of all of the different times that
Anita Anand and Mark Carney say the same bloody thing.
In an increasingly dangerous and divided world, the world is becoming more dangerous and divided. In a more dangerous and divided world, in an increasingly complex and dangerous world. This is just like when the Liberals came out with "We've got your back" a whole bunch of times in a whole bunch of different places. This is what they're doing, what they're saying, and they're just setting things up for online muzzling of dissenting opinions. The same thing like they did with that parliamentary budget officer. Sean and I are going to be in a chain gang together, making big rocks into small rocks.
And what a fun chain gang that'll be. For a bit.
Oh, great.
Yep. Major projects. Today, Prime Minister Mark Carney announced the second.
If you're wondering where we are, Sean has already promised to hide an air tag up his booty hole, so it won't be an undisclosed location.
Twos will not be putting it there.
I will not. I will not. I'm guessing your ass is almost as hairy as your chest.
Why do you do the mashup, Sean? For moments like this, it just, in a world that is completely insane, where Canada literally does the dumbest things over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Every once in a while, you got to have a chuckle. And Mashup 184 coming at you hot. All right. Today, Prime Minister Mark Carney announced the second, is it tranche? Is it tranche? Tranche of projects to build our economy. That includes North Coast Transmission Line in Northwest British Columbia, the Sims LNG Pierce Island, British Columbia, Canada's Nichols Crowford Project, Timmins, Ontario, produce high-quality, low-carbon nickel essential for batteries and green steel. Nove Monde Graphate's Matanwini Mine, that's in Quebec. Open pit graphite mine will provide important inputs for defense applications and battery supply chains. Northcliffe Resource Saison Mine, New Brunswick. It will produce tungsten and Equilit hydro project. It will become none of its first 100%. Yeah, thank you. Inuit-owned hydro energy project.
We're going to do a hydro energy project in northern Canada. How often is water actually flowing in northern Canada?
I don't know. I actually don't know.
I feel like you're probably going to get about 2 months out of the year on this thing. But that's just me. This is like when they came up with the solar project for Iqaluit a few years ago. You're like, oh, really? The place where the sun doesn't rise for 6 months out of the year? We're going to put up solar panels there. Right? But hey, this is great. This is all wonderful. All these fancy new projects, right, Sean? Wrong. Darlington Nuclear Project. Project description submitted in 2007. LNG Canada Phase 2 expansion was first put on the books October 2018. Port of Montreal expansion. Planning since late 1980s. Foran McIlvena Bay Copper Mine. Environmental request July 2023. Deposit discovery pre-2016. Red Chris Copper Gold Mine expansion. Mine open 2015. The KSI Listums LNG partnership formed in 2021. Crawford Nickel Project, feasibility November 2023. The Tungsten Molybdenum Mine, formal plans in 2013. Most of these projects, that's not even all of them. The Matanwini Graphite Mine, the application was in 2017, and the Iqaluit Hydro Project was proposed pre-2025, it just says here. But most of these projects, the applications for them are old enough to get a driver's license or go buy alcohol. Things get held up with red tape in this country. And the fact that we're just like, oh, well, if there's too much red tape in this country, well, how can we solve it? well, we're just going to have another layer of red tape that's going to fast line all of this stuff. No, you just take away the red tape. This is really simple. This is idiot stuff. These projects have been stalled forever because of the regulatory burden. And the fact that they think a new office is going to somehow fix that, they're out of their fucking mind. All they're doing is just handpicking the ones that they want. And in the meantime, there's no pipeline. There's no plan to get rid of any of these bad laws. And the clock is ticking because you know what's happening this weekend, Sean? The Grey Cup, which happens to also be the deadline that Danielle Smith gave Mark Carney. And it's Friday, and it's almost 11 o'clock in the morning, and governments don't tend to do a lot of things on the weekends. So they need
Usually
to throw
there's
a fucking Hail Mary.
Usually there's a flurry of activity as soon as the show ends, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
but
we're probably going to
there's
get done this. And yes, I hear what you're saying.
They're in injury time right now. There's nothing left on the clock. And Danielle Smith she's got to follow through.
Here's MP Mark Dalton, conservative MP Mark Dalton. He says, after the 2020 election, 3 conservative MPs, including myself and Chris D'Entremont, ran to be deputy speaker. Conservative MPs had an internal vote, and Chris narrowly won. This is how we do it in this post, as well as caucus chair. Fast forward to this year. He didn't want a vote to happen. He wanted to be appointed. When that didn't happen and he lost in a free vote to Tim Kimmick, he was very upset and made it known. By the way, I lost the vote to be assistant deputy speaker to John Nader, and I'm not sulking. Attempts to placate D'Entremont were futile. He thought he was owed this position, but he was not. I can assure you that he would not have crossed over if he had won his prestigious position and the extra $51,000 that goes with it. Take everything you hear from him about his reasons abandoning those who voted for him and the Conservative Party with a hefty dose of skepticism.
Well, the plot thickens. Interesting thing, I haven't seen any news articles about that.
No, we haven't, have we?
No, but this is a very, very clear and logical chain of events. I mean, why would you run to be deputy speaker if you were planning on crossing the floor? That doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that?
Here's this should be in goofy news. Bureaucratic conscription. Canadian military will rely on an army of public servants to boost its ranks by 300,000.
This shouldn't be in goofy news. This should be in happy news.
Well, sure.
Oh, but this is okay. Well, okay. As much as I hate the Liberals and I hate Mark Carney, like, look, credit where it's due. Okay. So let's just go through the issues here. Okay. Canada, far too many public servants, right, Sean? Okay.
Correct.
And the Liberals are in the middle of a quagmire because they can't fire them without drawing the ire of their voter base, right? Right. Okay.
Right.
But
okay.
Here's the but. If we give them a 2-hour online course on weapon safety and send them to the Ukrainian front lines, Putin's going to balance our budget himself. Mark Carney is a genius. And just think about what's going to happen as this all plays out. They're all going to show up to boot camp. And the drill sergeant, he's going to say, "Get in line, you maggots." And then Janice from the passport office is going to jump up and say, "Hey, that's my line." They're going to tell some drag queen from Human Resources to suit up in camel BDUs, and he's going to get all butthurt because they're trying to erase trans people, which is the point of camel, right? You get that, Sean? Do you understand that? Someone's going to call in an airstrike, and they're going to show up chanting for oxygen to be paid a living wage. This is Unit Bravo requesting extraction from location Echo. Over. We're currently experiencing high call volumes. Your call is important to us. Please stay on the line, and our next available agent will be with you in approximately 19 days. You're going to have a bunch of bewildered paper pushers standing around there with protest signs, wondering how the Russian snipers keep picking them off. Like, yes, we've had a lunch break, but what about second lunch break? You're going to have a whole bunch of battle-hardened Ruskies making necklaces out of septum rings at the end of this. A soldier's going to put on war paint, and Stefan with 3 F's in it is going to say, hey, you look just like my old boss. We're under fire. We need air support. Over. Have you filled out Form 397-B? Over. We need cover. Over. I think what you mean to say is that Form 397-B needs a cover sheet. Over. This is, honestly, I hope he does this, and I'm here for every second of it. They're just going to be like, fall back. We're being misgendered. Load the tampon guns.
I should know.
These are a whole bunch of people who don't know the difference between killing somebody and dead naming them. And we are going to send them to fight a bunch of battle-hardened soldiers from the Soviet winters. I'm here for every second of this.
I should point out it'd be voluntary. The entry criteria for the supplementary or other reserve should be less restrictive than the reserve force for age limits, as well as physical and fitness requirements. So they've already reduced all the requirements to get in the military. They want to reduce it yet again for public servants. After the initial entry into the ranks, the public servants would be required to do 1 week's worth of military training each year, but wouldn't be issued military uniform. Because
they'd insist it being rainbow flag camo.
You know, and all your infinite timelines, I'm gonna cut that. You just said Carney's a genius. I'm like, oh yeah. I've got a note here. That's great too. I'm glad you said that. Thank you. Thank you for that.
That's wonderful.
Mashup one.
If it isn't the consequences of my own decisions. I think it's great. It's the pension liability savings alone are going to be just almost incalculable. And you're just going to have a whole bunch of Ruski snipers being like, get the one with blue hair. Da, comrade. But which one? All of them. These people are just the worst suited you could possibly imagine to enter a war zone. But they also accomplish absolutely nothing here in Canada. There's no downsides to this.
Iceland deems possible Atlantic current collapse a security risk. Iceland has designated the potential collapse of the major Atlantic Ocean current system a national security concern and existential threat, enabling its government to strategize for worst-case scenarios. It goes, warming temperatures speed the thaw of Arctic ice and cause meltwater from Greenland's ice sheet to pour into the ocean. Scientists warn the cold freshwater could disrupt the current flow. A potential collapse of AMOC could trigger a modern-day ice age, with winter temperatures across northern Europe plummeting to new cold extremes.
So we've gone back now again to an impending ice age. Maybe we should have chilled the fuck out a little bit on the carbon tax. Like, just imagine that all of a sudden, perpetual winter is coming, and just, we're getting like the snow doesn't leave till July, and our last ditch effort to save the planet is just going to be to burn diesel.
Show the video, Carney. The White Rock Pier is where Carney is at, or was at, I should say. Here we go.
I mean, it's more about the tweet than the actual video.
Oh, you want the tweet? The White Rock Pier is an iconic BC destination and economic driver. MP Ernie Clausen and the community here have been working to restore and preserve it, so we're stepping in and investing to revitalize the pier in budget 2025.
All right. And then, oh, look at this. from 2019. After 8 months out of service, repaired White Rock Pier opens to the public. It got done 6 years ago. But there's money in the budget this year to do it. It happened. It finished 6 years ago. We've got all of these projects on the book, stuff that's already happened. Like in the first round of announcements, one of the things that got announced by this super fancy committee for fast tracking projects was over 50% completed. All of this shit has happened already. The next one to be announced, what are they going to do? Like, we're going to give the Department of Mining and Forestry $800 million to eradicate the dinosaurs. We're going to give the Department of Agriculture $326 million to flatten Saskatchewan.
Side story. White Rock. That's where, when Dustin and I biked Canada, that's where we finished. Was White Rock.
Huh.
Got a picture sitting there smoking a cigar.
Did you go all the way to the edge of the pier?
I have to assume we did. I honestly, I can't really remember. I remember being so elated that I was sitting at the Pacific Ocean. I was just like, I can't believe we made it.
I think you're the first person who's ever said that, but yeah.
Show the Husqvarna USA tweet.
All right. So
this is good.
Here's the story. So this guy woke up this morning to find his chainsaw was gone. Didn't know what happened. And so he goes back and he reviews his footage. And for those of you listening and not watching, a black bear has it in his mouth and is walking away with his Husqvarna chainsaw. And so now you fast forward a little bit. He actually ends up finding the bear's den and getting the chainsaw back. This whole tweet blows up. Husqvarna reaches out to him and says, hey, you know what? We think you're awesome. We'd like to send you another chainsaw. But he's like, it's okay. It's fine. I got it back. And then Husqvarna USA. We are the preferred chainsaw brand for bears. So the next time you're like, where's my 10 mil socket? See if a fucking badger took it.
Here's the RCMP, Ridge Meadows RCMP. Interested in being part of our team. We're looking to fill 2 exciting positions here at our detachment. Supervisor of cells, exhibits and fleet, and crime prevention coordinator.
Interesting thing, and I don't know how they did this. This must be a new feature because I've seen this happen a few times. You can turn off and then just make all of the comments invisible. So if you look at the bottom here, there's 8 likes, 6 retweets, and 93 comments. Further comments are closed, and you can't see those 93 comments. Yeah, I feel like the RCMB has done quite a lot to ostrich-size themselves in Canada lately, and people don't really like them very much right now.
You want to show the China Bridge collapse?
Yeah. It's kind of loading. It's got the loading circle. But this is the Hongqi Bridge in southwest China. Months after it opened, it collapses. So China, who, I mean, we know everything that China makes is garbage, all the way from their dinky little dollar store toys to their world-ending viruses. They also built a bridge, named it after white people, and then let it fall down. The Hongqi Bridge.
Yeah, you wonder what a bridge collapse looks like, folks. There you go.
Yeah.
28-year-old man charged following traffic stop. Drake John Eric Guitard Metallic.
Yes, that is the guy's name. The guy's name is, just let me just reiterate this. 28-year-old Drake John Eric Guitard Metallic. As far as I'm concerned, if that's your name, you should actually get away with whatever stuff you want. Like, you should just be legally untouchable by the criminal justice system of Canada.
Toronto Life, 50 most influential people. Number 1,
Yeah.
Mark Carney. Why? Because he's sticking up for a nation united against its belligerent southern neighbor. Number 3, Doug Ford, for being the irritant Trump can't ignore. And number 4, one of Tu's favorites, Olivia Chow, for being more focused on the work than on the optics. Okay? And then,
Yes. Also, if you go down the list, number 10, Anita Anand. Number 15, Mike Myers. Number 16, Evan Solomon. Why did they pick Mark Carney? Is it because he's awesome or Sean?
I don't know. Well, here, grants and contributions. Okay. 23 records found from March or April 1st to 2025 to March 31st, 2026. They received $906,000. The year before that, $754,000. Year before that, $570,000. You can just keep going back and see all the money. All the money.
Mm-hmm. And it just so happens that 3 of the top 50 people on their list are liberal politicians, including Evan Solomon, the federal minister for artificial intelligence and digital innovation, because he's charting Canada's AI path. The guy's been doing the job for 6 months at best, has absolutely nothing to show for it, and he is the 16th most influential person according to this list. I'm sure it has absolutely nothing to do with the $906,850 that they got from our fucking pockets that the Liberals cut the check for.
You want to talk about Stephen Guilbeault?
Yeah, let's talk about Stephen Guilbeault for a second.
He's at COP30.
He is at COP30. Nature is a key ally in the fight against climate change. He's not the environment minister anymore, by the way. He's the Minister of Canadian Identity, Culture, and Official Languages. And he flew to fucking Brazil, where they speak Portuguese, which is not even an official language, to go talk about the importance of climate change. Can you bring up that second picture for a second? Or here, I got it. Okay.
I got it.
All right, go to that. Here's a picture of him speaking. You can see he's got the podium there. There's a few other people in the panel. And then you just see the front row. You just see the front row. This happens when you're in a very small or poorly attended room. You do this to hide the actual size. Ladies,
correct.
If you ever get a dick pic that only shows approximately half of the shaft, you're actually seeing pretty much the whole thing. And it's the same thing with this picture. The same thing with this picture. You think you're only seeing half the shaft? That's the entire dick right there.
Mason Alonso. Here, let's pull this up. Curious what Twos has to say about this. 31 beers, 29 for those lost, 1 for the ship, 1 for Gordon Lightfoot.
Yes. So this is it's I want to say the 50th anniversary of the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald happened this week. And look, if I die, I'm not going to demand that people drink a beer for me. But if you do drink a beer for me commemorating me after I've passed, don't make it a fucking Michelob Ultra.
That's what got Two's goat. All right. 9-year-old was working BC Carnival ride when drunk patron fell out, breaking bones. The fact that a 9-year-old was unloading passengers off a carnival ride has been listed as a contributing factor in an incident where a patron fell out of an open car while the ride was in motion, according to a report from BC Safety Regulations. The Technical Safety BC report on the May 31st incident in Port Hardy says one of 2 passengers hadn't exited the zipper ride car when an operator activated the ride with the door wide open, and when the unit was 6 to 8 feet in the air, the patron fell to the ground, breaking multiple bones. Despite there being warning sign on the attraction saying people should not ride it while under the influence of drugs or alcohol, the 2 customers appeared intoxicated. One attendant telling investigators the pair were hammered and left a bottle of alcohol in the zipper car. The injured patron has also been removed from the carnival the day prior.
Yeah, so a 9-year-old kid was running this. A 9-year-old carny
under the supervision of
No, his dad went to go take a leak and he took over. He wasn't being supervised. He took over running of this thing, and these guys were hammered. Here's how hammered he was. He fell out of the zipper. And the zipper, the thing that flips around and everything.
I think everybody's got a zipper story.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Their bottle of booze stayed in the zipper, but they didn't.
The zipper has to be. I have a love-hate relationship with that ride. Like, I feel like you're going to die every time you go on it. Like, I mean, they haven't changed those machines in 50 years. They're the same machines they've had for 50 years. A little bit of grease on the thing and just carry on. It's going to be fine. And then stick a 9-year-old running at the boot.
Oh, I'm just every day I'm constantly surprised. As much as I love the zipper, I'm pretty sure it's probably killed more people than Hillary Clinton.
I like this one. Man steals city bus and takes it for a perfectly civil joyride, picking up and dropping off passengers. A man who stole an idling city bus in Hamilton took passengers on a nighttime joyride through the city, making stops, letting riders on and off, and even made someone with an expired bus pass put money in the fare box. Police said. It goes on. Police responded quickly, but initially stayed directly back. Trevor McKenna said, "We typically would pursue something like this, but because of the situation for safety purposes, we strategically followed, which means that that there were no lights on or sirens. We kept a distance and we just kind of monitored where they were going. So while he's driving around dropping people off, they're sitting back there going, do we stop this? Or he's actually doing a pretty good job."
No. Yeah. Oh, this is great. This is way better than the usual guy. No name was released.
I was thinking as I'm reading this, if Twos ever just has a bad day and he's just frustrated, I could see Twos doing this. You just hop on the bus. There's Twos. Hey, evening, fare, please. No, that's expired,
Yep.
sir. Could you? Yep.
And Twos. I love that's the best part was the fact that he's like, he's stolen the bus and he's not letting a guy with an expired pass on, making him actually pay. Cause it's not like he's paying him. He's like, you got to put it in the little box. But I mean, it's tricky because, like, on the one hand, you're thinking, okay, well, you know what? Who's been stealing vehicles lately? And there's no name released. And generally speaking, when there's no name released, it's somebody who's fairly new to this country. But at the same time, they stated very clearly that he was operating within speed limits, driving safely, and wasn't a hazard. And so you're like, I don't know. You've got kind of this contradictory information.
Speaking of officers, please show the video of the two female officers. You don't even have to show the full thing. You just have to show the female officer running.
Just spoilers. Yeah. Spoilers. This is in Houston. And that means that I'm one day closer to you. And there we go. I don't know if I've ever seen.
Can you imagine you're testing for getting into the police department? There's certain requirements you gotta have.
You gotta be able to make a lot of sound effects.
Show that run again, please. Like you just gotta play the run again. This is what.
I'm simultaneously amazed by how slowly this person was running and how they still managed to just absolutely biff at the same time.
I can almost see the lady getting arrested starting to laugh like, really? All right.
Yeah, like that's got to be humiliating. You're like, these are the people that are putting me in handcuffs right now?
Oh, poor female officer. I mean, especially to get it captured on tape. Oh man, that's too good. That is way too good. That is one of the worst runs I've ever seen in my life, and that is a police officer.
Yeah.
Whew. Okay. CTV published an op-ed that was likely entirely Chat GPT. Okay, here, bingo. So this is
Cosmin Desurza. basically has it all highlighted where it's likely generated with AI. And then Alexander Brown ran it into an AI checker who is not even just like fairly certain. The AI checker said it's 100% confident that it's AI.
And then you have this as well. Okay. Well, actually, sorry. That's the newspaper. I'll pull up this one because it actually shows it closer. And
This
you
is
know,
the end of the article, the very end of the article.
And this is in Pakistan, for reference. And it says at the end of the article, if you want, I can also create an even snappier front page style version with punchy one-line stats and a bold infographic ready layout, perfect for maximum reader impact. Do you want me to do that next? And anyone who's used AI,
that's what they always say. So they just did select all, copied it, pasted it in. The editor never read it, never double checked it, and that ended up getting published in a physical newspaper.
You wonder why the mainstream media is dying, why people are turning to other sources. It's stuff like that. Twos, you want to show Vesper's tweet?
Yes. Now, having said that, I'm almost concerned. Like, you ever see things that are so weird where you're like, I don't know, maybe this is AI. So we might have to walk this back in a week because it's that fucking crazy.
A new kind of grocery store in Quebec is promising big savings at a time when food prices keep rising. The low-cost chain sells discounted items, sometimes past their best before date. Shoppers say the deals are hard to beat.
I'm at a type of grocery store that's gaining a lot of momentum. It sells discounted items, and people shopping here say they're saving a lot of money.
CBC, who gets paid $1.5 billion a year by the Canadian government from our pockets, is running an article about how good it is to shop at a place that specializes in expired food. Now, that's not a standalone thing, though, because here's an article from 2023, why these U of O students ditched the grocery store for the dumpster. Dumpster diving saves money, reduces food waste, and comes with safety concerns.
Yes.
This is Pravda shit. This is Pravda shit.
Okay. Olympics set to ban all transgender athletes for LA 2028. I mean,
okay, but what did the tweet say about that exactly?
I don't know. What did the tweet say about that exactly?
Olympics set to ban all transgender athletes from female events after, quote, finding scientific evidence of advantages to being born male. No fucking shit.
CSIS director warns that China and Russia continue to target Canada. I don't know. Do you want me to read some of this? I mean,
it's just kind of a no shit Sherlock kind of moment. That's it. That's basically like the interesting thing is that they don't talk about politicians. How apparently there are what was it 9 or 11 politicians who've been infiltrated by the Chinese government that we never got the names of. CSIS, if you guys come to the MASH spiel, we're going to ask you about this, so just have an explanation ready.
Okay, then you got some NHL. You got the Edmonton Oilers. I don't know. I'm sure other people watch. Colorado. This is a Spit and Chicklets tweet. They say caption contest. It's Connor McDavid leaning on the boards as they're getting thumped 9-1 by Colorado.
Well, just be a little bit nice. I don't know if thumping is exactly what you'd call it. They didn't come out ahead at the end of the third period, but to say that they got thumped is probably a little bit mean to say about such a glorious team.
I did like this. Best I can do is a 0.692 save percentage. Pawn shop.
Kevin says he was at that game. Oh, I would have loved to have been at that game.
But here, we won't just harp on the old Oilers.
Well, it's important to be impartial, right?
Flames season in a single photo.
Yeah. They're all piled up on top of the goalie, and nobody's in front of the net.
Okay,
now, there's, I don't know, you might call them a couple late additions. The
Probably.
Jumbotron fell down at Medicine Hat at
Oh,
Co-op Place
no.
there, and so the game was delayed. I say they should have just gone around it. Flight attendant resigns after consuming alcohol on duty. Margaret Lake resigned after being found with a blood alcohol level over 10 times the legal limit. Whew. She was fucking wasted on many bottles. Meanwhile, in Florida, man opens fire during argument over how many eggs a chicken can lay.
Okay. Kill me! Sit down. Go sit down. Hey, listen, don't go near that gun. Don't go near that gun.
This is body camera footage of 44-year-old Peter Riera being taken into custody by Port St. Lucie police. Riera is accused of firing 4 rounds from a .45 caliber Glock at 3 people after an argument outside the closed pub. Police say once outside, the conversation became heated. Riera became paranoid and believed the victims were out to get him.
The shooter evidently raises chickens, and the conversation was about how many eggs a chicken can lay.
They say that's when Riera armed himself with a handgun and started firing.
One victim ran out into the roadway trying to get away from the shooter. The other 2 victims hid. We had several phone calls. The shooter himself called 911.
We were at the scene as officers gathered evidence later that morning. Police say the victims knew each other and had just met the suspect that night. All had been drinking and none were hit. During the investigation, one of the victims was arrested for resisting an officer without violence and another for battery on a law enforcement officer.
Arming yourself with a handgun when you're under the influence is not a good idea. There's never going to be a good outcome with that.
Now, it just occurs to me now, we both know somebody also in Florida who's a big fan of farming and firearms. I wonder if Tom knows Peter Riera.
Imagine being at the bar and arguing how many eggs a chicken can lay and it leading to gunshots.
I mean,
all the things Florida's doing right. That's a strange one.
Yeah. Norway's wealth tax has created a capital exodus. Norway's wealth tax increase, expected to raise $146 million, led to a $448 million net loss as $54 billion in wealth left the country, reducing tax revenue by $594 million. So they just think like the more we tax, the more money we're going to make. But this is that Laffer curve. Remember we were talking about it with Chris a few weeks ago?
Yes.
If I go Laffer curve, here's a great way to put it. If you have a tax rate of 0, your tax revenue is 0. And if you have a tax rate of 100%, your tax revenue is also 0, because nobody does anything to make taxes, because what the fuck's the point? And so, presumably, there's an inverse parabola where the higher you tax, the more money you're going to make until it tops out, and then you're going to start making less. And so if you were, I don't know, some unserious NDP person, you wanted to have as much tax as possible, and accepting the fact that lower taxes also promote growth, which turns into more subsequent taxes in future years, you would want to have it somewhere around here. But they always think that this curve is actually just a straight line, that the more you tax, the more money you're going to make. And that's not the case. And Norway just found that out recently when they were planning on making another $146 million in revenue, and actually caused $500 billion less revenue. I just wanted to show this. Here's a video of, I don't know why it does this. Sorry guys, that's really loud. But here, these are the Super Save trucks who are going into the ostrich farm. Okay. You look at them, they've got the Super Save colors. They've got their logos covered up. They're trying to change their outward appearance. But literally just one glance at these trucks and you know what they really are. Just like trans dudes. And that's her.
Happy news. Influencers have more reach on 5 major platforms than news, media, and politicians. More than 2/3 of younger Canadians engage with political content from influencers, and influencers have significantly more reach.
I think that's great. Also, did you notice the people they mentioned specifically in the article?
No, I didn't.
Oh. So, let's see here. It also includes influencers who post under the handles Berta Proud Dad and Quick Dick McDick.
Hey, shout out to those two gentlemen.
Yeah, you got specifically named in a study conducted on the fact that you are a bigger swinging dick in this space than the legacy media.
Mm-hmm.
So good for you guys.
Animal. Here, I'll pull it up. Animal Justice has filed a legal complaint with the CFIA over cruel methods it used to execute hundreds of ostriches at the Universal Ostrich Farm.
Yes. So despite the fact that everything sucks about the ostriches, there's it looks like there's going to be some legal ramifications to what they did. I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah, don't hold your breath.
But let's show exactly how broken this system is. Okay. And then the third thing.
Yep.
The third thing, public safety warning. High-risk offender now living in the Rideau-Vanier area. Tweet from the Ottawa police. Why is this in the happy news? Because as far as I'm concerned, if we're going to let all of these high-risk to reoffend criminals out, let's do it in fucking Ottawa. The problem with a lot of the laws that get passed by these bureaucratic dickweeds is that they're never the ones who suffer the consequences of their bad policies. And if we just have a national policy that every time we're going to release a high-risk offender, we do it in Stephen Gayball's backyard, well, you know what? I think that's about the only way that we can reasonably expect to have decent bail reform in this country.
Community notes. Anybody got any? I didn't notice if there was any community notes in there too. As while you look,
oh yeah,
I'll rattle off a couple. You got the UCP AGM is November 28th, so that's coming up. As I mentioned off the hop, I've been doing interviews. I got more later today for all the candidates running for board of directors. So that'll be interesting. November 28th, once again, UCP AGM. MASH bill is coming to Kalmar, Alberta, January 17th. So if you're interested in donating a prize for it or being an individual person to just show up, or you want a team of 4,
you might CSIS not yet confirmed, but they have been invited.
I don't know if that's going to bring people out or not, but regardless, we're going to be
whatever.
there January 17th. January 17th.
They're your coworkers, Sean. Of course we should invite them.
And Agent Newman. Come on, Kevin.
Like, take a longer pause next time. Have they approached you? Click.
Says the guy who thought Carney's a genius. Yes. Cornerstone Forum returns March 28th at the Westin Calgary Airport. Tickets on sale now. Early bird tickets on sale, I should say. It'd be the cheapest you get all the way till December 31st. Of course, last week, we pretty much announced it on the show. Sam Cooper is confirmed. He's going to be in Calgary for that alongside Tom Luongo, Alex Craner, Vince Lanchi, Matt Arrett, Chad Prather, Karen Katowski, and more. Tom Bodrovic is going to be back. Tooze is going to be back. And some other characters are lining up, and we'll be announcing as we go.
Jim
Jimmy
says
Sinclair.
he's got a whole crew coming to the MASH spiel.
There you go. So Jim Sinclair in attendance. Should be fun. Any other community
Yep.
notes, Tooze,
Right
before
here.
we get out of here?
I got a few. Paul LaPolice. Yeah, he's the guy who put too many men on the field in 2009, and the Riders ended up losing to the Alouettes. So I still hate him very much, but I'm hoping that with time I'll come to forgive him. Fucking prick. Anyway, online auction of CFL, NFL, NHL jerseys. Proceeds go to help the men's national team Canada flag football program. So there's a link there. And they've got a McDavid one that's signed as an example. I don't know if it's got a whole bunch of puck holes in it from that thrashing they took, but maybe. NDP, mark your calendars. Our first official leadership debate is happening this November 27th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Montreal. Our candidates will dive in on key issues that matter to Canadians, and you won't want to miss it. RSVP to watch it live here, ndp.ca/debate. Anything to add, Sean?
We're going to be live that night because we're going to have some fun. We're going to have some fun, Twos.
So as soon as the debate's over, we're going live with thoughts and commentary and in-depth analysis of the undoubtedly intricate policies that they're going to be putting forth to right the ship that is the economy of this country. You're not going to want to miss that. And the Globe and Mail presents a new line of merchandise celebrating Canadian quality, sustainability, and craftsmanship. Shop and pre-order by November 24th. I would say probably don't, because they fucking suck. They're the worst. They are horrible. Almost all of the articles we present talking about how broken the Canadian media are written by the Globe and Mail. So unless you're that weird looking bald dude in the back, pass this one over.
Mashup 184 in the books, folks. As we always are, we're here every Friday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Twos, it's been a pleasure as always. You've you cracked me up a few different times. Although that cop running was maybe the best thing of the week for me. Time
not all of our civil servants being sent to the front lines of Ukraine.
You can't unsee that cop running. That is a view into what civil servants being in military will look like, and there will be more of it, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, except they do that and land on a landmine.
Well, I mean, we're talking about they get 7 days of military training once a year. We'll see where it ends up. I hope it ends up with more videos
initiative
of the cop running and face planting it. That was best. That was best. It was great. When I saw that, I almost fell out of my chair laughing, and it happened again and again and again. It just keeps on giving. Mashup 184, thanks for tuning in, folks. Twos, thanks for being on. We'll catch up with you next week. Once again, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time every Friday. Twos, until next week, big fella.
All right, thanks very much.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, popping, locking, salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map, I stop the chatter, scream happily.
Welcome to the Mashup.